So please welcome to the stage the first team to present their paper titled Pack a Punch.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ravi from Dynata. I have with me Siva from Curious Cat, our research consultant. So in this paper, we'll be focusing on how we used AI solution to kind of sharpen a traditional pack test. So the image that you see on screen is taken from London Illustrated News sometime in 1911. So this shows the introduction of escalators in the London Underground. Of course, those days they were called as moving staircases, and on the day of introduction, the newspapers called these as London's new amusement. But the reality was, when this was introduced, people were not coming forward to use them. A lot of concern, they were terrified using them because exposed machinery, noise. I'm not going to all of those details. The story goes like this. In order to encourage people to use the escalator, the authorities did many things. In fact, they made a one-legged man, his name was William Bumper Harris, to go up and down the escalator, basically to show that they are safe to use. So subsequently, the patronage increased. So that's the assurance required at that point in time for the adoption of technology. So AI is all pervasive. We've seen that yesterday, today. So this is our bit of assurance that we can blend AI with traditional research and augment insights. So we'll see what was the marketing challenge faced by our client Heritage and what was the task given to Dynata. The brand team, Buffalo Milk is a key offering in Hyderabad from Heritage Food. It's a premium offering. The brand team had a concern that the product is not gaining traction. They were checking on multiple things. One was on pack design. Two hypotheses. One, it's not appealing. It's not premium. Of course, they have to evaluate 3 pack variants. So it was aligned that we'll use online mode of data collection because it's a premium offering and therefore affluent consumers. All of us know that it's not possible to access affluent consumers through the traditional offline methodology. But the key ask from Heritage was that research should not stop with the traditional metrics like purchase intent, likability, and all of it. How can we get nuanced information? All of us know that online we get a lot of software inputs. How do we get that in a self-administered online format? So let's see how we managed to solve that problem. So the starting point is a traditional approach, well-validated pack test methodology. So we created a shop shelf, a virtual shop shelf, to assess brand recall in a competitive context. Subsequent to that, the packs were individually evaluated, and the consumers are asked to select what are the elements in a pack they like, what are the elements they did not like using heat maps. Then, of course, we had the imagery statement association, and finally the PI and all of it. Of course, our client allowed us to explore multiple tools in order to ensure that we can drive actionability of the data. So we identified 2 such tools. One is AI predictive eye tracking. The other one is implicit reaction time, IRT. So both of these tools, they tap into the subconscious of consumers. That is system 1 research, which kind of reduces the bias. AI predictive eye tracking is an algorithm that's trained on thousands of data points from past eye tracking projects. In a way, it simulates human vision, and therefore it eliminates the need for a physical, the usual eye tracking research that we do. In fact, when Siva shows the insights in the next section, you will see that the heat maps are very similar to what we get in an eye tracking research. Implicit reaction time is a well-validated but not regularly or not often used methodology. The standard practice for us is to assess how many people are associating the imagery statement with the brand. But we complemented that with IRT, which kind of assesses how fast consumers are able to associate the statements to a brand. IRT measures response time in milliseconds. The faster the response is, the stronger the association. So technology is all fine, but the underlying fact is that the data quality should be of high quality. So Quality Score is an AI-powered solution from Dynata. It kind of takes into account 100+ data points in the survey, real time during the survey, to assess if the consumers are fit for quality. Are they real, unique, and engaged? That's what it takes care. So with all of that set in place, we'll now see the insights. Siva will take us through that.
Thank you, Ravi. In the next few slides, we'll explore how the AI and tech-based value addition helped us to understand the finer details and pack a punch to our findings. In a traditional pack study, using a virtual shop shelf, we understand which are the brands being noticed and recalled by the respondents. In our study, Amul was the most recalled brand, at both spontaneous and aided levels, followed by the client brand heritage. Using the AI-based predictive eye tracking, we were able to understand what the respondents noticed in the shop shelf and in what sequence. This helped us to understand what packs caught the attention of the viewers and how they caught the attention. Using the hotspot analysis from the AI-based predictive eye tracking, we observed that the attention drawn away from the heritage logo, leading to its lower spontaneous recall. This gave us insights into why certain packs were recalled more and then the others. While evaluating the pack test, we asked the respondent to select areas that appeal to them. The more selected areas, the more appealing elements are shown in warmer colors like orange and yellow, while the less appealing areas are shown in colder colors like blue and green. And here we can see that the right side of the pack, which depicts the village story, resonated more with the consumers, while the left side, which showed the farmer's image, was less engaging comparatively. However, we all know that human visual attention is naturally attracted to faces, and the farmer image was the first thing to be noticed by the respondents on the pack. This showed us that the appealing elements are not always the noticed first. And often we come across situations where the message communicated on a pack or an advertisement is not picked up by the respondents. In this case, the product claim of taste and creamy were not associated with heritage, even though they were mentioned on the pack. While traditional research would not have explained this, AI-based predictive eye tracking helped us to understand the claims which are on the bottom right of the pack were not on the top 4 gaze sequence. So they're not in the top 4 items which the respondents noticed. And they received moderate visual attention, likely blending into the green village background with no contrast for the statements. This gave us clarity on why the message was not picked by the respondents over there. And in traditional surveys, the respondents have a tendency to agree despite not believing it truly. Here we have presented the respondent stated data related to the pack's premium attribute. We can see there was not much difference between the brands. However, when we compare the implicit reaction times, we observed that the respondent took longer to answer for heritage, indicating clearly a weaker association for premium image for heritage. This confirmed the agreeing does not always mean believing. Okay. It is important to remember that we have used AI and tech-based tools to complement traditional research and not to replace it. In this study, traditional research showed us that heritage pack was the second most liked pack after Amul, and among the heritage variants, the one with the male farmer image was the most appealing. And now let us look at how combining insights from the traditional research and the AI and tech value adds has led us to more detailed action points to the client. The insight validated using AI and tech-based value adds have been highlighted differently in color. And the first action point is to improve branding. As they always say, make the logo bigger and more visible. Second, the farmer image on the left side, which is not appealing to the respondents, grabs the most visual attention compared to the appealing story on the right-hand side, the village story. We need to make the farmer image less prominent and declutter the pack design so that we can make the respondent focus more on the appealing village story. Okay. Next, the product attributes of taste and creamy were getting lost in the current design, and they need to be made more prominent. And the pack design was not perceived as premium. That was another which came out from the IRT. And we need to include design elements that signal premiumness to the pack. Finally, out of the 3 pack variants of heritage tested, the male farmer image performed better, and we need to make it a primary image. Let us now see how the client used this insight to pack a punch to the pack design.
So the brand team and the creative team, they worked together, took into account the inputs, and they have redesigned the pack. You can see it definitely better than the previous one. Number 1, branding. It's moved to a central, more prominent, attention-catching place. Number 2, the farmer's image made less prominent, reducing the size. That kind of has given more space for improving the village story. And of course, the creative team suggested that to make it convert premiumness, we can increase the white space, bring in better contrast, as well as use modern font. In fact, when we reassessed it, you can see that the branding is bang on. The position where it is, it's grabbing attention and as well as appeal. Also, the key messages are now in a relatively better position. So this is going to go into the market soon. We are hoping that this will help Heritage gain traction. So in sum, the process is simpler, economical, and also not time consuming. Therefore, it's easy to adopt for all. So to conclude, in the beginning I mentioned about this one-legged man, William Bumper Harris. This is a small model of him at work at the London Transport Museum, and that's how he's remembered. Thank you.
Hi team. So we have a question here which asks, how did you measure the emotional appeal?
So two things. One is, of course, we have the traditional metrics like imagery association, etc. On top of it, we have IRT. That's the speed of response, means the association is stronger. And then, of course, even the AI solution, which also indicates where is the eyesight going first. That is a clear linkage between the emotion and what the consumer is doing.
Thank you. There's another one.
Yeah.
Are you able to collate any generalized learning using AI on pack visuals, which can help clients in developing the packs as opposed to reworking the packs?
Exactly. The entire algorithm is based on a huge volume of learnings, and therefore it's definitely available in terms of where the attention goes, what colors are picked up, what kind of font are liked, all of that is available.
And there's another one. How is AI-based predictive eye tracking different from your traditional eye tracking?
Okay. Traditional eye tracking needs respondents, and we need to do a proper study for that one, set up either through online or through a CLT mode. Whereas AI predictive doesn't need that one. It's already fed with the data. It is like a predictive eye tracking tool. So once we have the image, we can generate where the respondents will be looking at that one. It basically takes into consideration what are the eye tracking basics like faces, contrast in color, like red and blue or green and yellow, and edges, that is shapes of the images and those things, and predicts this one. So there is no need, technically it's around 90 to 95% accuracy similar to eye tracking one. Still video based eye tracking, we need a proper one. For images, AI predictive one works well.